Hey everybody, it's Luke with Figure Me Out. Today we've got the DC Multiverse Black Manta figure from the Aquaman line of figures. I guess that's for the new movie that's coming out. Taking a look at the packaging here. It's kind of some interesting packaging. It's got this little bump in right here. Gonna be honest, I don't really collect a whole lot of DC figures, but this guy looked really cool and I couldn't pass him up. On the back here we've got the read up. If you want to read that, you can pause that at any time. Looks like there's a Build-A-Figure of Trench Warrior. I don't really know much about that character. I'm guessing that's something from the movie, just, you know, looking at how detailed it is. And then you got the other figures in here. And looking at those other figures is why I don't really collect the DC figures. Those all look ugly to me, but whatever. Got the other side of the packaging there. Not really much going up on the top, although there is an embossed DC logo and some kind of weird honeycomb-ish pattern on the top there, and on the bottom you got all the legalese and such. But let's go ahead and crack this thing open and take a closer look. Here's Black Manta out of the package, and gotta say, this is a pretty cool figure. Like I said at the beginning, I'm not really huge on the DC figures because I feel like normally they don't do a very good job with them. So it's nice to see whenever they do something right. Let's talk accessories first. He comes with this piece of Trench Warrior, I guess is what the name of the thing is. Pretty detailed, pretty cool looking. Got some, you know, numbers and letters and stuff on the side there. I don't know if this is from the movie that's coming up. Should come out today, actually. I'm recording this today. But I don't know. I don't know where that came from, but it's kind of cool looking. I think that would look really cool once it's complete. The other piece it comes with is the head for that Trench Warrior. It's kind of, you know, kind of creepy looking. Doesn't really have any eyes. It does have an articulated jaw, so that's kind of cool. But it kind of reminds me of if anybody ever played Castlevania, those little Medusa heads that go across the screen. You know what I'm talking about? Hate those things. But let's talk about the figure himself. He comes with one accessory for him specifically, which is this sword here. Kind of hard to see against the black background, but that might be a little bit better. So it's kind of a cool looking sword. It's got a little trident kind of thing at the base there. It's got some red paint applications on there, and then a grippy for the handle. I'm not sure if this is, I don't know anything about Black Manta, so I don't know if that's like his sword or what, but whatever. It's pretty cool looking little sword, so I like it. And here's Black Manta himself. So looking at him, really just a fantastic looking figure. I'm trying to buy more action figures that I think are just cool action figures rather than, you know, for any specific brand or license or anything like that. I'm trying to just buy what I want to buy, and this is kind of my foray into that, and I gotta say, I like this a lot. Spoilers if you haven't watched my top 10 figures of the year video, but he is one of them. Just because it's so surprising to see, you know, Mattel and DC make something so good. I think the first time I ever saw Black Manta was in the Super Friends show, and I always thought he was kind of a cool looking character. Didn't know much about him. Still don't know much about him, but I'm going to have to do some research now. Apparently he was some sort of scuba diver or something that fought with Aquaman. I don't know why he's got such a big head, but, you know, it's fun. But anyway, looking at that figure, so he's got a lot of, you know, a lot of neat paint apps. Got the red there, and all the paint apps are very clean. I did have a little bit of a notch on the eye there, but I was able to get that off with a knife. Just a little extra red paint on the bottom. But yeah, just a real good looking figure. Definitely shines really well, and it's got different color blacks too, so it's not all just the same black. Like on his head you can see there's like a shinier black and a more matte black, so there's even in the blacks themselves there's a difference in the colors. Like even on the arm here, it's like a grayish black and then a painted darker black. Very good. A lot of paint, or not a lot of paint, but good paint where it is. So let's talk about the articulation of the figure. The neck is on some sort of peg. I don't know if you can see down in there or not, but it's like a stick with the head on top. So it kind of gets a little bit of like all around, kind of like the waist joints on some of the Marvel Legends that have like that floating waist piece. But it doesn't really want to stay anywhere that you put it. You can kind of get a little bit of pivot to it. Not so much with the down and up, just, I mean, the slightest amount. But he's got these big bug eyes, so I guess that's, you know, it is what it is. You do get rotation though, so you can make him look all the way around. And even the back of the head kind of looks like a second head, maybe? A little duck head. So that's the head. At the arms, so the arms are actually slightly different. This arm you get full rotation all the way around. It's on a hinge to go up. There's a bicep swivel, single jointed elbow that goes in, you know, a little bit less than 90. Not great. But and then the wrists are they swivel and they're hinged to go down and up. On the other arm, however, he's got this little hose attached with this little knife sticking out. I don't know if that's part of his thing, but you can only get you can get full range from the arm. But the problem is you can't rotate it, because if you rotate it, you wind up wrapping himself around, and you can't rotate it the other way either because it gets caught. He kind of gets caught in his own hose there. No big deal, because you can still get it in all the poses that you want. It does go up about that far. Elbow bends in about the same amount, and then you do get hinge at the wrist, and it is a swivel hinge, or swivel and a hinge at the wrist, but it's somewhat limited by the you know, that little blade sticking out there. On the back too, he's got these little jet pack scuba gear. I don't know what these are, but these things are articulated to turn around in a circle, which is kind of cool. He can crunch forward barely, and the reason for that is because these hoses right here, all these hoses get in the way. They knock whenever you go to crunch forward. They catch, so that's what's hindering that there. He does lean back just a little bit, so not really forward. Does go back just a little bit, and I don't know what's catching on the back there, but it feels like it's hitting something, but it's not hitting the backpack. I don't know what it is, but it does kind of catch there. Anyway, he does have a waist rotation, which is nice. He's got hips that kick forward that much. They kick back about that much. They do go crazy out to the side. You can get him to do the Jean-Claude Van Damme splits there, which is nice. He does have a upper thigh swivel, a double jointed knee that goes in pretty good, and I didn't mention but the back of the boots. I really like that design. And then he's got ankles that go down, they go up, and they do have a diagonal joint in there, so you get that crazy ankle rocker pivot. One other thing to note about this figure is if you get this, some poses are kind of hard to get because unfortunately this guy is very top heavy. He wants to tip over, he wants to do nose dives. I wouldn't put him on a top shelf because I feel like he would take a dive off because he's a scuba diver. Get it? Anyway. And part of that though is because it's a really heavy, thick, dense plastic that they use at the top and for the torso, it feels like, because it feels very chunky. The legs though, looking at them, I think they're hollow. Like there's a seam line on the back of the legs there, and they feel very, very light. Like the figure feels very light on this side and very heavy on the top. It's not really an issue in most poses. You can kind of get him, you know, you can kind of get him how you want him. So it's not going to be like horrible, but it is just something to kind of note that he does, you know, if he's tipped, he does have that. So all the joints are nice and tight right now, but I feel like if they were to loosen, and the more I've played around with him, the more loose they have gotten, you know, in the future, that might be an issue. The other issue that I noted was the hips. I don't know if you can see, but there's just a slight bit of jiggle to those hips. They're not perfectly still. I think it's because they got one of those joints that comes off and is like a T-joint that connects on both sides. So it's like the legs are connected, but they, you know, they kind of dance around a little bit. So you get that little bit of rock to them, which can, you know, that can make a lot of difference whenever you're posing it around for pictures and such. But just something to note. Hasn't really bothered me much, but it's there. And for a size comparison, here he is next to the Black Series Death Trooper and the Marvel Legends Vintage Wave Pizza Spider-Man. And he scales pretty good. He's a little bit taller than Spidey, a little bit taller than the Death Trooper too. So I think he scales pretty well. I'm not sure how tall that guy's supposed to be, but he is wearing a lot of gear and stuff, so I feel like that would add a little bit of height. Plus that helmet is, you know, makes him kind of a bobblehead. It's huge. So that's him. That's Black Manta in a nutshell. I really like this figure a lot. Obviously he's on my top 10 list. I haven't seen the Aquaman movie yet. I'm probably going to go this weekend maybe and see that. I don't know if he's in this or not. I just know that I think this is the comic book version anyways. But I've always thought that was a cool design for a figure. I love all the hoses and the, you know, the little jetpack thing and all that. It's a cool looking figure, and it's you know, it's a fun figure. This is one of those that's it's an action figure that I don't really have a whole lot of tie to, other than the fact that it's a cool action figure. I may pick up a second one and try and pop that head off and put a different head on there, because I think that would be really cool if he had, you know, not this giant whatever head. But I know that's also a part of the character. Like, that's the whole thing, is that crazy stingray, or manta ray, I guess, looking head. It's a good figure though. So as far as whether or not it's going to go on the coffee table, the shelf, or a bin, this guy's going on the coffee table. He's been living there for about a week now. So love this figure, and you know, if you see one, definitely I'd recommend picking it up. It's a good figure, even if you're not into the DC stuff, because like I said, I'm not. But I think it's, you know, give credit where credit's due. This is a cool figure. Good on him. So what do you guys think? Leave me a comment below. Let me know. I think he's a pretty cool figure. Are you guys going to go see Aquaman this weekend? I might not. I still haven't seen Into the Spider-Verse. I know that's terrible, but I've heard it's really good. So hopefully this weekend I'm going to go. But you know, hit like, hit subscribe, and in the meantime, keep trying to figure me out.